you see someone attractive and you're like, it's my baby, you know. Hey guys, welcome back to another video. So, a lot has happened since my last video. Sort of, but not really, but like, kind of. The film industry is kind of picking up, so I've been getting some auditions, which, you know, just feels really good. I'm really just looking at each audition just as a gift. But the biggest change that has happened since my last video is that, drumroll, I got my first car. A few weeks ago, I purchased the 2020 Mazda CX3 GS, and I am loving it. So that's what today's video is all about. I'm gonna tell you a little bit about, you know, why I started looking for a car and the benefits of having one and all the cool features. I'll walk you through all of that and give you a quick little tour of my car too. I just love saying my car. It just feels so good. Well, let's get right into it. So back in March, when this whole pandemic started happening, I started thinking about getting a car for myself. And the reason I was thinking that is because I've been driving my mom's 2009 Honda Civic since I got my license, so in like 2011, 2012. And honestly, you know, it still runs, it still works, but I've found that over the past few years, you know, there's just been a lot of things just going wrong with it. Whether it's the paint completely coming off the car, it looks like a cheetah print at this point. The AC breaking, which costs like $1,000. I was just tired of fixing things. So with that kind of circling in my head, I also was really looking forward to finding a place to run with my girls, an affordable place downtown or just closer to the downtown core. And it's just been so hard to find a place that is nice and is affordable, it works with my budget, and just based on my income. Because aside from having my money go towards rent, I wanted to also be able to save. So I knew that it was gonna be one or the other. But I was like, you know, I'm gonna keep both of my options open. So I knew that if I was getting a car, I really wanted to get an SUV crossover. For those that know me, I'm like so LA when I say this. My dream car is a G-Wagon. I know, I'm like so basic. It just looks so nice. But I felt like an SUV crossover is kind of like a, you know, like a baby step towards that. You know, when I'm making that big money, I can afford a G-Wagon. I was also like really lost when it came to financing versus leasing. Purchase now, finance for 1.99%. And honestly, that just like goes over my head. So I'll get into a little bit of that later on in the video. So let's get down to the cars that I test drove. I had my eye on the Hyundai Kona for months. And I honestly just feel really played because the way that they marketed this car, you know, they called it the SUV for the city, like calling my name. So I test drove the more popular one, the one that fit within my budget. And, you know, like it looked okay on the outside, it looked good. I knew I wanted a white car. And when I got inside the Hyundai, like the interior of it just looked like my 2009 Civic. And I was like, if I'm getting something new, I want to be able to have some sort of level of like bouginess, do you know what I mean? And I just felt so disappointed because I had such high hopes for that car. So then I went to Honda. And I test drove the HR-V 2020 and the 2020 Honda Civic. So the HR-V is kind of like their version of a SUV, you know, crossover. It's super cute and small, but it's in its first generation. So again, the inside is just very lackluster. There just wasn't anything like special about it. I just was very like underwhelmed. But I'm glad that I test drove it. I think it's really important when you're looking for cars to test drive as many different kinds as you can, because the car that you may think that you really want, when you sit inside it, it might not be like what you thought it was going to be. Now, 2020 Honda Civic, I was just like blown away. Just like the exterior of it, like it has such a sporty outside. The inside is so cool. You know, when you're making like right turns, there's like actually a blind spot camera. So you can see if someone is in your blind spot, which is really cool, which is really good, especially if you're driving downtown and there's a lot of, you know, bicyclists as well. I did want a 5-year lease, and we were looking at, for 20,000 kilometers a year, about like 161 bi-weekly. I was like this close to just like doing it. I can't recommend the Honda Civic enough, especially because I've been driving one for so long, but this was just like a level up. So ever since Mazda released their 2020 CX3 and CX5, every time I drive by it, this is before I started looking into cars, I'd be like, damn. Like, you know when you see someone attractive and you're like, I was like, okay, like, let me give Mazda a try before I make any decisions about the Honda Civic. So the CX-5, it's a bit more expensive, and it's a bit bigger. The CX-3 is just, like, looks-wise, it was just perfect, and size-wise and, you know, price-wise, it would be perfect for someone who was young like myself. The minute that I test drove the CX-3, it took my heart away. It blew my heart away. It blew my... I just knew. Like, I just knew that that was the car for me. I'll show you guys when I give you a quick tour. And also, heated steering wheel for my cold hands. Especially in the winter, my hands get cold so easily, no matter what gloves or mittens I'm wearing. So that's like such an added benefit. So I just knew CX3 was the car for me. Now, in terms of leasing versus financing. So with financing, you essentially own the car. Like, you've bought the car, you're just making regular payments towards paying off the car. But with leasing, the dealership owns the car and you're making monthly payments to have that car for a specific amount of time with a specific, you know, limit on the kilometers that you drive on it. And, you know, there's like 2, 3 year and up to 5 year lease options. And at the end of the term, you can either buy out the car, like pay the rest, or you can return it and get something new. There's definitely pros and cons for both, I think. But the nice thing about leasing, which I didn't know until I started doing my research, was that, you know, if you have like a lease protection attached to, you know, the car that you got, if something breaks that wasn't accident related, it will get fixed for you. You don't have to pay out of pocket for it, which is so nice. And it's also nice because I'm young. My needs are going to change in the next 5 to 10 years. You know, in 10 years, if I have a family, you know, CX3 isn't going to cut it. And at the end of that period, I can decide, hey, does this suit me right now? Do I want something new? Do I want to try something new? It just gives you that flexibility. I think if you're young, I think in general, no matter how old you are, leasing is just, it's a great option. I was mind blown when I learned about like the ins and outs of it, so I can't recommend leasing enough. So I knew that I wanted at least 20,000 kilometers per year for 5 years, so that'd be 100K. In total. So the initial Mazda dealer that I went to was straight up just ripping me off. He was going to charge me $200 bi-weekly for 16,000 kilometers per year. No. So I will say that if you're looking for a car, you find a car that you really want, you don't like the deal that you're getting, even if you try to bargain, go to a different dealership. So that's what I did. I went to a different Mazda, and the customer service here was just like on point. You know, I told the guy, you know, my budget, and he took the time to like explain all the features of the car. He took the time to actually work out a deal with me that worked within my budget 100% and include that lease protection, which was amazing. So I wanted the all-wheel drive. I wanted the luxury package with like leather seats, the sunroof, and he was just like straight up with me and told me that, you know, when you use all-wheel drive, like your car isn't using that all the time, only when it needs to. And then he made a good point to say like, you know, how often are you gonna use the sunroof? And then I really thought about it, and like, it's cold most of the time here in Toronto anyways, so I said no to that. All-wheel drive is an extra $2,000, and then the luxury package was an extra $1,500. So I saved a huge chunk, still worth it. And what was really nice was that he actually offered me 24,000 kilometers per year for 5 years. That day I walked into that dealership, I kid you not, I signed the lease papers that day, and I picked the car up a few days later. I remember I went home and I was like, did I actually just do that? Like, this is like my first like big purchase. Damn, it just feels really good. And also I get 5 years free roadside assistance from Mazda. And what's really weird, I didn't even remember this, my mom had to point this out to me, but when I was little, I used to watch those Mazda Protege commercials, like the yellow Mazda Protege. And then the slogan would always be, zoom, zoom, zoom. Oh my God, that was horrific. Yeah, I used to be like, Mom or Dad, I want the Zoom Zoom car. So, because I used to say Zoom Zoom, I named my car Zoe, which I think is just such a cute name, and I think it just works really perfectly with my car. So it's kind of weird. It's almost like I subconsciously manifested getting a Mazda. But yeah, enough talking. Let's get right into the tour of my brand new Mazda. All right, so here she is. So beautiful. Right, and I'll open the trunk. Lots of trunk space. What I like about this is that it actually comes up and it clips on. And then the seats, back seats can also come down a bit, so I have more storage, which is really nice. And now for the driver's seat. Okay, this is what I was talking about feeling more luxurious than the other cars. I like the leather detailing here. There's also leather stitching here, which is really nice. There is sport mode, which I've yet to try on the highway. Electric parking brake. What I like about this, I'll turn it on, is that it is a touchscreen, but when you're driving, instead of like, you know, reaching over to use the touchscreen, it won't even actually work. You can just use this dial. Turn this off so I don't waste gas. And then there's a compartment here. It's an armrest, cup holder, another cup holder. The back seat too, not gonna lie, it's a little tight, but yeah, I mean, I'm not taking like a million passengers in my car, so that works too. Then you got heated seats, and then of course heated steering wheel, which is like the best feature of this car, one of the best features. And yeah, I'm trying to find like good car mats. I know the WeatherTech ones are really good, but if you guys have recommendations on car mats, definitely leave a comment below. And yeah, there she is. What a beauty. Alright guys, that's it for today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed my little spiel and story and tour of my first car ever. Oh, God, she's so precious. Every day I look out my window, I'm just like, it's my baby, you know. But yeah, if you guys like this video, definitely hit that subscribe button and that thumbs up. And don't forget to follow me on all my social media platforms at Sarah_DeSouza for Twitter and Instagram. If you guys have any questions, by the way, on, you know, leasing or on my Mazda, you know, feel free to leave a comment below. I'd love to help you guys out as much as I can. But yeah, other than that, I hope you guys stay safe, stay well, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye. I don't really care what they all say.